Every game begins the same way.
All out alert, Birdland. The front office just made a controversial decision that could change the future of our roster. This news is red hot, and no one else has this scoop. Subscribe now to be the first to know what this means for our team. For the most loyal members of Birdland, it is with great pride that I bring you the news you deserve. First and foremost, I ask that you subscribe to the channel. Do it right now, because this is the only place where you will get fast, deep analysis with the perspective of someone who lives and breathes the Orioles. It's not just news. It's a commitment to the truth and to our passion, to our love for this franchise. It's time to talk about something that's under the surface, something that touches the hearts of the fans. The roster moves during the last trade deadline. It was a painful period, yes, but a necessary one. We saw important players we love, leave. And this is the difficult part of the business, but it's the part that distinguishes teams that plan for a solid future from those that live by emotion. The front office, under the leadership of Mike Elias, made decisions that at first glance may have seemed too harsh. The trade of 4 relief pitchers, the release of Charlie Morton, and the departures of Cedric Mullins and especially Ryan O'Hearn were shocks to all of us. It was clear that the team was restructuring, looking to the future, as the 2025 season had become a journey of overcoming and planning since July. But behind every trade, every goodbye, there is a story. And Ryan O'Hearn's story is a perfect example of how the professionalism and coldness of a general manager outweigh the personal desires of an athlete. For those who don't know, and for those who haven't read the more detailed reports, Ryan O'Hearn, an all-star player who became an offensive pillar for us, had a clear request for the front office. He had preferred destinations for a potential trade. And what were those destinations? O'Hearn wanted to go to the Texas Rangers or the Houston Astros. There's a very personal reason for this, and it's something that brings us closer to the human being behind the uniform. O'Hearn spent most of his childhood living in Texas. It was natural for him to want to go back home, to be close to his roots. He even made the request directly to Mike Elias, a sincere and human request that Elias listened to with due attention. However, the role of a general manager is to seek the best for the franchise, the best for the future of Birdland, not for the player, and that is exactly what Mike Elias did. The decision to send O'Hearn to the San Diego Padres, along with Ramon Laureano, was not an affront to O'Hearn's request, but a purely business decision. The Padres' offer was likely the most advantageous for the Orioles in terms of return, whether in prospects or long-term roster value. This is the reality of high-level baseball, and that's why I trust Mike Elias. He doesn't bow to emotion or sentimentality. He does what needs to be done to build a championship team. He doesn't negotiate with his heart, but with his mind. And it is precisely this mentality that will lead us back to the top. The fact that O'Hearn and Charlie Morton did not travel with the team to Chicago before the trade deadline is a detail that illustrates the intensity of the moment. They knew that at any minute their lives could change. But the change for O'Hearn came in the opposite direction he had hoped for. O'Hearn and Morton stayed in Baltimore, and from there they left for their new destinations, San Diego and a team yet to be defined, respectively. This situation shows the uncertainty that players face and the way management needs to act with speed and precision. Mike Elias, once again, showed his ability to navigate these turbulent waters. He kept his focus on the team's strategy, even in the face of a personal and understandable request from such a valuable player. The O'Hearn trade is a reflection of our moments of rebuilding and planning for the future. It's not about weakness, but about strength. It's not about giving up, but about preparation. Elias is building something solid, something that can last for years. And for us fans, the only thing we can do is trust the process, applaud the players who leave, and welcome those who arrive. With every game, with every O during the national anthem, our commitment to this team grows stronger. We are all on this journey together, and it's a long one, but the final destination, glory, is in sight. Stay tuned, because the future of the O's is bright, and the most important news you already know is here. Continuing our analysis, Mike Elias' decision to ignore Ryan O'Hearn's request is not an isolated event. It is part of a pattern of behavior that defines the management of the Baltimore Orioles under his tutelage. Elias is known for his methodical, almost clinical approach to baseball. He doesn't make trades just to make them, nor does he let himself be influenced by personal relationships or sentimentality. His philosophy is clear. Every roster move must serve a greater long-term purpose, and that purpose is building a dynasty. Think about the trades that happened. 4 relief pitchers left. What does that tell us? It says that Elias is not afraid to break up a part of the roster that might not have been performing at the expected level, or that had simply reached its peak trade value. By trading these players, he capitalized on assets that can be used to strengthen other areas of the team, especially the prospect base that is the backbone of any successful franchise. The trade of Cedric Mullins to the New York Mets also fits this logic. Mullins was an all-star and a modern legend of the O's, but his production had been declining, and with the rise of younger talents in the development system, it was time to move on. The Mullins trade gave us the chance to bring in new prospects and at the same time free up salary and roster space. And the O'Hearn trade, although more painful due to his status as an all-star and the story behind his departure, follows the same line. By sending him to the San Diego Padres, Elias ensured the best possible return package regardless of the player's personal wishes. This attitude is what separates great general managers from good ones. It's the ability to make difficult decisions for the greater good. The fact that O'Hearn asked to go to Texas or Houston shows that even for the most experienced athletes, baseball is a profession with a very human side. They have family ties, roots, and desires. But in the end, it's a business, and the Orioles front office acted like a company that seeks to maximize its profit, which in our case is long-term success. This coldness from Elias can be difficult for fans who create an emotional bond with the players to swallow, but it is the reason why we can look to the future with optimism. We are building a team that will be strong not for 1 or 2 seasons, but for an entire decade. The base of young players we have, the talent in development, and the strategic management of the roster give us a competitive advantage. The 2025 trade deadline was a landmark. It was the moment when the front office showed that it is not attached to anyone except for the final goal, the championship. Trust in Elias at this moment is fundamental. He is not playing chess for the next move, but for the end of the game. And for our good, the game is the future of the Orioles. Follow closely, because what's coming is the consolidation of a plan and not a reaction to events. Mike Elias' strategy, which became so evident with the Ryan O'Hearn trade, leads us to a deeper reflection on the future of the Baltimore Orioles. It's not just about roster moves, but about a philosophy of team building. Elias is not just looking for isolated talents, but for pieces that fit into a system. The way he handled O'Hearn, ignoring the player's personal request in favor of the best deal for the franchise, is solid proof that the front office has a long-term vision and does not deviate from it. And this vision is what differentiates us from other teams that act on impulse or under pressure from the fans. Think about our farm system. We have young talents in hitting and pitching who are ready to become the stars of the next generation. The departure of O'Hearn, Mullins, and others creates space for these young talents to flourish. It's a vote of confidence from the general manager in his own prospect base. The message is clear. The future is now, and it will be built with the assets we developed internally. Modern baseball is largely about development and cost control, and Elias is a master at it. He knows that to keep a team competitive for years, you need to have a constant talent production pipeline, and you need to make difficult decisions about the players who are already on the roster, especially those who are nearing the end of their contracts or who have already reached their peak trade value. The decision not to trade O'Hearn to Texas or Houston shows that he is willing to sacrifice a good relationship with a player for the good of the franchise. It's a tough but necessary gesture, and the result, we hope, will be a return package that will make a difference in the future. Baseball is not a fairy tale, it's a business, and Mike Elias is a relentless negotiator. He is building a legacy, not just for a season, and that legacy is the promise of a future full of championships for Birdland. The sports media may question the coldness of his decisions, but we fans who understand the strategy know that this is the only way to build something that lasts. O'Hearn was a great player, and we will miss him, but the team he helped build and the prospects he brought in as part of his trade are his true legacy to the franchise. We are in a moment of transition a moment when the pieces are being readjusted for the final board. And the final board is the pursuit of the World Series. With every O in the national anthem, with every victory and every defeat, we are planting the seeds for a glorious future. Follow closely. The path is long, but the destination is glory. To close our analysis today, let's focus on what this series of trades, and in particular the decision about Ryan O'Hearn, means for the mindset of the Baltimore Orioles from now on. What Mike Elias did was not just a series of roster moves, it was a statement of intent. The message is that the franchise comes first, always, and this mentality is the basis of all championship teams. Elias's discipline in staying true to his vision, even when an all-star player makes a personal and understandable request, is the kind of leadership that inspires confidence. It's not about arrogance, but about conviction. I believe that in the long run, Elias's decision not to trade O'Hearn to Texas or Houston will be seen as a crucial moment in the team's rebuilding. The trade to San Diego, which likely yielded a more valuable return for the Orioles, is a direct investment in our future. The farm system, which is already the best in the league, will become even stronger. And it is this strength in depth, this ability to have talent ready to come up and fill positions, that will give us the competitive advantage for years to come. Modern baseball is relentless, and teams that cling to sentiment and nostalgia end up falling behind. Elias understands this, and that's why he is willing to make decisions that may be unpopular in the short term. The truth is that the Orioles are in an enviable position. The team is young, talented, and has management that knows exactly what it's doing. The departure of players like O'Hearn or Mullins is the price we pay for rebuilding, but it's a price worth paying. Instead of lamenting the losses, we should celebrate the fact that the front office is thinking long-term. It is building something that will be resilient and that can compete for championships for many years. And that, my friends, is the biggest victory of all. Our O chant is a sign of pride, of identity, of an unbreakable connection with our team. And that connection is strengthened when we see management doing what it takes to give us a chance to shout champions. The golden age of the O's is coming, and it will be built on the solid foundations that Mike Elias is planting. Trust the process. The future is bright for the Orioles, and you already know where to find the hottest news. Baltimore Orioles. General Manager Mike Elias refused All-Star Ryan O'Hearn's request to be traded to one of his preferred teams in Texas, prioritizing the best trade package for the franchise. Elias sent O'Hearn to the San Diego Padres in a purely strategic decision, reinforcing the philosophy that the team's best interest is always above the personal desires of players. Now, the question for you: what do you think of Mike Elias' decision? Do you agree with the general manager's pragmatic attitude, or do you think he should have considered the desire of such an important player for the team? What would be the best strategy for the Orioles in the next trade and free agent windows, considering the pieces that left and the young talent that is coming up? Comment below. Like the video, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exclusive analysis on the Baltimore Orioles. We're in this together. Go O's!